just get it. There you go, sweetheart. Listen, Johnnie Greene, thank you so much. I told him that you would be here.
Thank you, Tami Lyn, for having me.
I would like to also thank Deedee. Deedee is going to talk about the beautiful shields that she brought for us to wear because this is a time where we're doing everything home edition. It's social distancing. I'm probably cloud nine up with my breath because you know how it be. Woo! Whoa! But anyways, we are going to have a great time celebrating me, the author, Johnnie Greene. We have her here live. Thank God for you, Johnnie. Thank God for you, Deedee. Johnnie, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but before you do, I'd like to thank Sylvia. And you say Sylvia's name because you know I will mess it up.
Sylvia Donovan Hine.
Thank you, Sylvia. And I would like to thank once again Johnnie Greene being here with me and her guest Deedee, and we're going to share some ideas. We're going to talk about it, y'all, how to be an overcomer. And this is what we need. We need women and men who could show us the way, who have been through it to get to it. I would like to also thank Johnnie. Beautiful. I have my bookmark. I have my book. It's probably upside down, but it's all to the good. Penelope the Singing Elephant. Don't forget about her, because she lonely. She needs friends. And so what we're going to do is we're going to let Johnnie Greene talk about her very interesting book, Celebrating Me. Then Deedee, beside these beautiful face guards, they call them shields.
Yay.
Beside that, I got it going on now. Beside that, there's a keychain that I'm going to let Deedee talk about. So from this point, I'd like for you to give Johnnie Greene a hand. Johnnie Greene, thank you so much. And I don't want you to think that I'm being rude, but I'd like to talk to these ladies this way. And if you don't mind, Zaya, if you can keep us in the frame here so we can stay in. And I'd like to talk to these ladies and get some love.
All right.
Johnnie Greene, thank you for being
Thank
here.
you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Let me ask you, I'm going to jump right in. Now, you have come through a lot.
Yes, I
You
have.
know, the Bible says many are the afflictions of the righteous, but God will deliver us out of them all.
So true.
But it hasn't always been that easy to understand that
No.
for you. Okay, what we're going to do first is, I'd like for you to introduce Deedee,
Okay.
and then I'd like for Deedee to talk about the things that she brought for us.
Okay.
And then I'll
Sounds
let
great.
Deedee
All
bring it back to
Sounds
you.
great. Deedee Kemp, I'm a red hatter, and so is she. We went on a cruise a couple years ago. About 100 and something of us went on a 7-day cruise. So towards the end of it, she was always so bubbly and talking and everything. So she came over and struck up a conversation with me. I don't remember exactly what the first thing she said, but she started talking about her weight. And I looked at her and I thought, oh, you know, she's so gorgeous. She's a beautiful lady inside and out. And she said to me, I've lost 82 pounds. Well, she got my ears. 82 pounds, and you know, I'm always trying to lose weight and improve my health.
Yes.
So I told her, I said, well, what we'll do is when we get back, we will get together. And so she said, I live in Carson. I said, so do I.
Wow.
So we've made an appointment to have lunch together. And the rest has been history.
Wow.
So I've lost a total of 46 pounds. Today was my day to go have my physical blood work done, and I feel better. I told my doctor today than I did when I was 60.
Wow, thank you.
But Deedee has been an inspiration. She has been an encouragement in my life, and I have somehow they've woven me into the family.
Great.
You know, so I'm not just a friend anymore. I'm like a family member. You know, and that is really awesome. So, without further ado, this is Deedee Kemp, one of the sweetest ladies I know, and she's going to explain to you all about the shields. I'm also on the black seed oil. I take the sea moss.
Y'all already know.
And my hair,
Like, oh,
this is my hair. I had some put in, you know. Sometimes you gotta buy stuff to look.
Baby, look, we
But
are
anyway, my hair underneath here is much longer than what I'm wearing now.
Yes,
And the
wow.
sea moss, the black seed oil is just making
Come
my
on
hair.
now, talk about it.
Yes.
Y'all already know black
Oh,
seed
yes.
is something I've been doing all my life, so
Oh, yes.
holla, somebody else will like me.
So, yes, hello.
Hello.
And, yes, first thing I would do is like to talk about the keychain. A friend of ours, Mercedes Jenkins.
Mercedes Jenkins,
Yes, and she with my black Greene box. And so she came up with the idea of the keychain directory, black directory. This is a genius idea.
I love it.
So to let you know that even though Johnnie gonna give you information how to order her books, but you can also go on the keychain and hit that barcode, and then you can get the information on buying the book, and you can get the information of my shields and my herbs.
And tell us about the shield. They are beautiful.
Oh,
I
honey.
hope my hat is not.
You know what? We by being a red hatter, we are a bling.
Yes. Now this is one. Excuse me, Deedee.
Go ahead.
Now this is something that I was telling Johnnie.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Hatters. You know, I've been performing all my life. Now the Red Hatters, you may not know what they are. I'm gonna let the ladies explain to them. I met the Red Hatters when they first began. Well, I met the first. I guess she was one of the first African Americans in the LA area. And this is how I met her. Because the red, I think it was like maybe 20 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I had on this red hat. I wear hats all the time. I had this bad red hat on. And it had a blend of purple.
Okay.
Oh, baby. Then I had this bad red and purple suit on.
Oh,
And I was out singing. I was
Wow.
actually out with the seniors singing with Miss Morales. I love them.
Yes.
But anyways, I was having a jazz and a gospel set over at an auditorium. So I was out, you know, they asked me to come sing, and then in turn they wanted tickets. You know, the singers, they'd be like, Tam, I need 20. So we did the thing, but I had that hat on, and a lady approached me. She said, sweetheart, I love you. Are you a red hatter? So I said, I don't know. She said, you're so bubbly and butterfly and this, and she started telling me. But she came to the concert. And do you know, through the years, I lost communication. She would come to all my shows.
Oh, how wonderful.
Wow.
Such a beautiful person. So I would like for you ladies to tell us briefly about the Red Hatters, because a lot of people may not know what it's worldwide now.
Yes, since
It is
you've
wrong.
been in it before, then I go.
Oh, okay. One of the things, I was in the Deer Creek Red Hatters, and I Queen, she died a few years back, and her name was Bertha. And she was one of the most beautiful persons that I've ever met in my life. So for me, in order to be a red hat, you have to be bubbly. You like to have fun, and it doesn't matter what size you are, what color you are, height you are, whatever. You know, it's about having fun.
Yes.
All ages. If you're between the age of 50 and over, you wear red and purple.
Oh, yes.
For your birthday month, you wear a purple hat or red. The other time you wear a red hat.
Yes.
And if you're under 50, you can also be part of us because you wear pink and lavender. And you wear a lavender hat your birthday month and pink the other time. But it's a sisterhood type thing. And we just go and we have fun. We just love on each other and we dance and we just have a good time. Okay, Deedee, I'll let you go.
You're right, and you know, I'm in a club in Carson, and when I first started, I was a pink hatter. So to be a red hatter, you had to turn 50 to be a red hatter. So when I started, I was probably about maybe 46. So I was like the baby, you know. So I got all the attention. But then once I became 50 years old, then I became a red hatter.
Wonderful.
Yes.
So the Red Hatters, you
And we-
have to be a social butterfly.
Social butterfly.
Social butterfly.
Yes, and we like to travel. We like to
Very
get
good.
together and go to concert, go to plays,
Yeah.
and always have fun. Don't worry about all the other stuff.
That's
Yes.
right. And that's a beautiful organization. So
Mhm.
she just thought with my personality and the way I was moving it up. But thank God, I love it, and I love the way that it's excelled. Now, Deedee, you were telling us about these shields.
Yes, these shields, yes. I started making them because I was just doing it for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And because I wasn't about to be going around look like I'm just getting out the hospital.
Okay.
Okay, my husband brought me a one of those 45 or whatever the mask and this big old fat shield, and I'm looking like, okay, I know I want to be safe.
Right.
Okay, so I'm not going to be. I want to be safe, looking good.
Right.
So I want to show my lipstick, and I like to see smiles.
Right.
You know, because when you see a person smile, it brightens up your day.
Yes, it
Yes.
does.
You know, and I like to smile, and you never can tell if I'm having a problem.
Yes.
You know, so I started making these shields, and people was like, "Okay, can you make me one?" I said, "Okay." Can you make me one? Okay. Then I said, "You know what? Let me get into the business," and then all of a sudden I started selling in Memphis, Tennessee,
Wow.
Houston, Texas, Georgia.
Wow.
You
Las
know,
Vegas.
Las Vegas.
Right.
And so I'm like, I just said, you know what, this is what I'm gonna do. So I'll be at the farmers market every
Thursday.
Thursday
Now, which farmers
at
market?
the
is that?
Carson Mall.
Carson
Carson
Mall.
Mall, right off of
California.
Avalon, off the 405 freeway.
They call it the Pavilion.
The
is that what-
Pavilion, Carson
South
Pavilion,
Bay.
South
Yes,
Bay
South Bay
Pavilion.
Yeah, you see, I'm
Yes,
in town.
so I'm a lady with a lot of faces, so I do a lot of stuff and sell a lot of stuff.
Now, you mentioned that you work with the Carson. Where? How can we get these? Can we get them online, or is?
Yes,
are
you can get these online by using the code. I can tell you the code. You can go to www.myblackbeautybox.org.
My Black Beauty Box.
myblackbeautybox.org.
Beautiful.
Yes, and then when you go to that, or you can go to my page.
Okay. What is your page?
My page is Deidre
Mhm.
Carpenter Kemp.
Now spell Carpenter and spell it for us so we will
Oh,
have.
okay, Deidre Carpenter Carpenter Kemp Kemp.
Wonderful.
You go to that page, you inbox me, I can give you all the information, and then I can give you more information on this directory, this black directory
That's so
key.
sweet.
Okay.
Now let me ask you one quick question before
Yes.
we get back to Johnnie.
Yes.
Greene.
Yes.
Now, are the directories? Would we do the same way to get in touch with you?
Oh yes.
Okay,
Oh yeah.
very
Because once you click it, when you click it on, then you can go to health and wellness, and with the health and wellness, you'll see me with the 7 doses of sage. That's with the sea moss and the black seed oil. And that's the first thing gonna come up is 7 doses of sage. And if you click on that, you would put my code down, and you would get a 30% discount. If you put the code a gift from D. When you go to 7doses.com, 7doses.com, and you enter the code a gift from D, D-E-E, you would get 30% off of your black seed oil and the sea moss, and we got all other kinds of spirulina.
Oh, girl, she talking about she talking about we have to have you.
Yes, and then when you go and hit that, you will see total life changes.
Oh, are you?
I'm a total life changes
Well, you
too.
better recognize my hat.
I recognize her because you got the detox first. You have the detox first before you, while you putting this herbs in, if you want to make it work right.
You better
right.
Would you preach it? Because I've been telling them that, you know what, a lot of people think, I don't want to be boo-boo and all of this, but you know what, you must detox.
Yes.
You must detox. Because you know what, I'm just telling you, ladies, I love it. Listen,
That's
we got to stick with the script, y'all.
That's how my daughter got sick, with the colitis, and she had to have that bag. That's what's in my page in the book about how I gained all this weight because of the fact of her being sick, and she had colitis. They had to get a coloscopy bag. Then when they reversed it, she couldn't go to the restroom because she had to take medication until she found out about the tea, and then she started going to the restroom.
That's TLC, baby.
And that's why she's a herbalist.
Slash
You're trying to tell them. Okay.
I told my doctor today, I says,
That's
she
how
asked me
I'm
how I
doing.
feel, and I told her, she looked at it and she said, well, you lost 46 pounds. I said, yes, I did. And I said, I feel better than I did when I was 60. I'm gonna be 74 in about 5 weeks.
Thank
Yeah.
God. And you know what? Let me tell you something. This is real. We're at the gathering.
Yeah.
This is not, we didn't preempt this. We
No,
didn't
we
know
didn't.
this was going to happen, but God knew. And
God
that's
knew.
why He brought us together, because He really wants you to see that when I tell you about those TLC products, and I'm telling you that, you know, you can lose this amount of weight and you can really get your body detoxed and get the fuba gone, because that's what I've been working on, that fuba. But one thing that before we leave that subject that I'd like to ask you ladies is, what do you think about the GMO, the genetically modified foods?
Oh. I got a garden.
Okay.
I have a garden. My garden is from the back of your house to the front of your front yard.
Can I come over?
Hey, and I do some of everything.
Oh wow, I
Uh-huh.
love. See, this is what I'm getting at. You need a farmer. You really do. So listen, we're gonna get into
Yes.
celebrating because you know
Yes.
what, we'll just go on and on.
Oh yes, and how do we the people that subscribe and as they coming on, where do they go to get to the this page?
Tami Lyn Show. TamiLynshow.
Oh, okay,
Tami
okay.
Lyn Show. TamiLynshow. I wanted to just show you something. With this shield, it's a little bit different than a lot that I've seen. This is a pair of glasses, so they fit real well. You know, it just fits like a pair of glasses.
Mm-hmm.
And you can wear your glasses with it too.
With them
To
too.
fit over, yes.
Okay, now, celebrating me. Listen. Johnnie,
Yes.
tell us about celebrating me.
Mm.
Tell us about your journey from, excuse me. Man, a mint. I'm so sorry. Say the word, please. Thank you.
It's our own.
I started choking.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
need some
it's-
water?
Please.
Yeah, it's not on your page yet.
Okay.
It's not on your page yet.
For YouTube?
Yeah, it's not on the page Facebook.
Oh, it should be on Facebook. Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Here, maybe I can send the link to you.
Yeah, people are checking and say it's not on.
Are we live?
Yes, on Facebook.
Okay.
Go to your page, go to your page and go to mine and see.
I did.
Excuse me, everybody. I'm gonna send you some water.
Okay.
But,
Because what you can do is share it and then
Here you go.
thank you, sweetheart.
tag yourself.
Thank you. Just 1 minute.
Give us just a minute.
Thank you, Jesus. And you were telling us about celebrating me.
Yes, celebrating me. Well, for a long time, I've always wanted to write a book about my life. And I started recording it this Thanksgiving 3 years ago. The week of Thanksgiving. And then I decided, well, I was going to do some traveling. So I said, well, you know what, I'm going to write a book on travel. And so I started collecting information for a book on travel. And so I said to my sister, I said, well, I'm ready to do my book. Because I had gone. And so we did some more recording for my life story.
Mm-hmm.
And she said to me, you got so much on your life story, why don't you do your life story first, rather than doing a travel book?
Okay.
And I said, okay. And, because I've done 46 states.
46.
46 states.
Wow.
Mhm. Well, I got 8, let's see, I have 8 more states to do, really. Yeah, that's what it is, I got 8 more states to do.
I'm gonna take
So-
my shirt off.
So I said, yeah, I'm gonna take mine off.
Yes. Christian, maybe we get some air.
Yes.
So I said to my sister, I says, okay, we'll do it. And I know she's a spiritual woman, she hears from God. And she said, I checked into, what we have to do to write the book on travel. It's gonna take a lot more to get it out, And I said, okay, we'll go ahead and do it. And then as we were going along and we're recording my book, because Sylvia Donovan Hine and I are sisters, we have the same father.
Okay.
I met her when she was 16 and I was 29.
Okay.
The very first time we met, I went to see her at a beauty pageant. I was, my dad and I went to see her because that's where we were gonna meet at. And so here I'm meeting her for the first time at 16 years old. And so she, there's a lot about me she didn't know because we didn't grow up together. And then me being at 29, she's 16 and she went off to college. So we didn't really get a chance to spend a whole lot of time together. And as she's reading my book, she's learning about me. And
Now this is your travel book, or is this your?
this is my life book.
Okay.
This is my life book. And she said there was time that she had literally cried because, cried for me because of the things that I went through. I grew up in Mississippi in the South. She grew up in Chicago. Two different lifestyles. Two different totally lifestyles. So she had no idea, what it's like to be in Mississippi. And so she called me up one morning and she said, you know what, Johnnie? You should name your book Celebrating Me. She said, because you've gone through so much.
Yes.
And you've accomplished so much. And she said to me, no matter, because the book is about being overweight. There's myself in the book, there's 7 other people telling their story. And that's the thing the 8 of us have in common. We've had problems with our weight.
Okay.
And so she said, I want you to get to the point where no matter what the scales say, you continue to celebrate you. And when you get it into your mind, I'm not going to look at my weight. I'm just going to celebrate me. And so that's how Celebrating Me came about. The book, the name of the book, Celebrating Me.
Okay.
So as we're going along with the book, I asked Deedee would she be in it because she lost 82. She lost a whole lot more than I did.
Wow.
And so there's in the book, I talks about my grandson. He came to visit me from Illinois, and he had an asthma attack and died at 15 years old.
Oh.
That was my only grandchild.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And thank you. And so I talk about that. There was a lady who's a friend of my sister, who I became friends with, named Linnell White.
Okay.
She would not allow my sister to come to Milwaukee because that's where the funeral was going to be. We had to transport his body from here back to Milwaukee. She came with her. And so Sylvia said, why don't we ask Linnell? Because, she's been having issues where, lose and gain. And I said, great, that'd be great. So we have 2 others going to tell their story in the book. And as time went on, I was visiting a friend of mine and I was telling her, about the weight and talking, and a lady overheard me because she was working with her for breast cancer survivors.
Okay.
And she said, you need to call this lady named Dr. Mid Hayward. And so I wrote the number down and I called her, told her what I wanted, and she said, oh, I would love to be part of that movement. And I'm like, wow. So I'm all excited, so I called Sylvia, oh, we got 3 now.
Okay.
And then the next thing I know, we ended up with 7
Wow.
in the book. And we have a man that's in the book, and he was grossly overweight. Get the book. He lost his mother at 10 years old.
Okay.
And he went through a lot of changes, just like I've gone through changes in my life. But he ended up in the service. And now he's a mind, body, soul, and spirit counselor.
Wow.
And he helps people with, their issues. And so I'm so grateful to have two people in the book who are in the psychology field of helping others. But we ended up with a total of 7.
Okay. So now, what we're speaking about, in Celebrating Me, there's a portion that you say the 7.
Right.
And this is what we're making reference to, the 7 people who were influential or who influenced Johnnie in creating this book.
Yes, yes.
One thing that I'd like to ask you
Mhm.
is I hear an undertone here that your weight is somehow attached to your emotion.
Yes. Yes.
And I also hear an undertone that until you began to deal with the emotional baggage, then the weight loss became parallel.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now,
Absolutely.
would you tell us, there was one, and now I'd like to go back into history. Would you tell us how a woman could be torn away from their child, and at that time, it was much different than now. You have more advocacy and more pro.
Mhm.
But at that time, I'm sure it was a different world because women were looked down upon. If you had your children somehow stripped away from you or whatever, it was your fault.
Right. Right.
Tell us about that experience in your life when your children were not with you. Tell us, first of all, what was that about in your life, and how did it propel you to get closer and closer to celebrating it?
It was one of the darkest days in my life. I'd been married for 10 years, and it was at a point that particular day where I knew that I had to exit the relationship. And when I said to him that I'm leaving and I'm taking the children, he says, no, you can leave, but the kids can't go.
Wow.
Okay, so I thought either I leave or one of us, something badly was going to happen.
Right.
Okay, because it was like I was at my breaking point. I was going to go to another side of the dark world.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay. And he was nice enough. He went with me to the bank to pull money out so I could, live for a few weeks until I got paid again. But I'll say to women today, make sure that you know the law of your state.
Yes.
Because I did not know the law of my state.
Yes, it is.
And the law of the state that I reside in says if you leave and you leave those kids there, you have abandoned your kids.
Abandonment.
Yes,
Yes.
abandonment.
Yes,
Yes, abandonment. So then I had the fight of my life trying to get my kids back. So I had a pretty good attorney to the point that he was able to get us joint custody.
Okay.
Yeah, but my husband and I both was fighting for total custody,
Oh,
but we ended up in a joint custody situation. I wanted my kids to stay where we were living because I had bought a house in a neighborhood where the school was better than where I used to live.
Okay.
And so I would have them on weekend, and he'd have them during the week for the school. In the summer, I would have them during the summer, and he'd have them on weekend. Well, it got to the point when my kids would come with me on the weekend, I'd just be so happy and so excited. And then when it was time to take them back, when I dropped them off and got ready to leave them, I would start crying. I don't know if my baby daughter is watching this or not, but if you are, get off, because I know how it hurts you when you hear this.
Yes. And you know what? Anything that brings you pain that you don't want to discuss, we
Yeah.
don't have to.
But you know what?
We can read it in the book.
My daughter and I have talked about it.
Okay.
My daughters and I have talked about it.
Wonderful.
There are so many women that need help.
Yes.
We have gone through the pain. We're healing. We're in a healing process. And if I can help somebody else, if I can help one other woman
Yes.
to not make that mistake, then I'm willing to do it.
Yes.
Because what happened was when I would leave them there, I'd head straight to the bar.
Okay. Hey, are you
I
drinking?
gotta get my fix on.
Okay.
Yeah. And I had a couple girlfriends that I've been friends for a lot of years before I even married him. We've been friends for more than 10. They were more than willing to go with
Right.
me.
Excuse me,
because-
one moment, Johnnie. If it gets too cool in here, ladies, let me know.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, thank you.
Because they were feeling my pain. They were
Right.
listening to my story.
Okay.
And so, ladies, whatever you do, know the law of your land.
Yes.
Again,
Very true.
Very true.
young women, if a man hit you one time, don't let him tell you he's not gonna hit you again, because he will hit you again.
I ain't getting involved in that because I already
Yes.
been there. Y'all
Yeah. So,
I ain't saying look, 'cause I think my
and if he, and if he tell you that if you leave me, I'm going to kill you, believe
believe
it.
it. That's
Believe
right.
it. Yes.
Believe it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Because,
glad you were strong enough.
yes, yes. I
And
have,
vice versa, men too, because there are women who beat men.
oh yeah,
Yes.
oh yeah, there's so many men, I'm speaking to you too, there's so many, and especially with this pandemic,
Yes.
get the book, because there's so many men that are being verbally abused.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, they're being told, that, you know, because now they can't, they don't have a job, they can't
Come
work.
on now.
So women are telling them that instead of helping them, loving on them, they're
Yes.
beating them down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so men are abused just as much as women are.
Yes.
I had a young lady that used to work for me, went to get her hair done. This man told her, if you leave me, I'm going to kill you. She's in the beauty shop. His wife was getting her hair done. She happened to be there. He came there and he shot her in the beauty shop. So, I mean, that just tore her life apart. Because she witnessed this.
Yes.
When I was living in Milwaukee, there was another lady who her family was trying to help her get away. Instead of them just getting her away, they decided to go to Walgreens drugstore so she could get a prescription filled before she left town. And when she came out, he shot her.
Oh, jeez.
That's why it's good.
So this is real stuff. This is real
Yes,
stuff that
yes,
happened.
it
And
is.
young women, if you're involved with a guy who are constantly telling, verbally abusing you, so verbal abuse is just as dangerous as
Yes.
physical abuse.
Yes.
You know, you're better than that. You're better than that.
And what did you want to say, Deedee? You wanted to interject something?
Yes, I was gonna say, since I'm glad nowadays they have a place for
Yes.
women like you and other women to go to.
Yes.
They don't have to wait for 20 years just to get out that relationship.
That's true.
That's right.
That's
And
right.
that's important too, because
Yes.
what we're saying here is that they have a domestic violence hotline.
Yes.
And when you use that hotline, it's totally confidential.
Yes.
They also have it where you can go. I went. I had to go. I was like, man, it was going to be a body bag or something, because it was just at that level.
Yes.
And I had to just get rid of my pride. I really did, and I had to go get help. And the lady was very wise. It was a young lady on the phone, and she said, you know what? Get a plan. Once you get a plan, you have to see when a person is losing power. That's a very dangerous, Johnnie was just saying. That person is losing power, so you could end up dead. And a lot of people don't want to give up that power of control. So once you go and you get the proper help with that domestic violence hotline, they'll teach you how to get a safe place. And they'll tell you how to stop disrespecting that person and start respecting them so that you can get out. Because you can't always snatch your foot out the devil's mouth. You have to sometimes, Johnnie is telling us, you have to know the laws and you have to have a safe place to go. Because if you haven't worked, like I haven't worked in 10 years, I'm tapped out. Refrigerator go bad, stove break, heater don't work, everything goes Murphy law. But God has a plan for our life. And that's what we're going to find out today, what God did for Johnnie.
Oh, yes.
So Johnnie, let me ask you, through having your children snatched away, having to deal with that, you say you hit the club and got your drink on.
Yes, I did.
So now, what'd you like to drink? I like grandma.
I was doing Johnnie Walker Red.
Oh,
I'm a wine person. That would knock me out.
I can dance on sing.
I'm always
Johnnie
Johnnie
Walker.
Walker Red.
I remember that back
That's
then.
like, honey, that's like old Foster.
And then
Straight.
and then it got to a point. I started out with it
That's
on the
like,
rock.
Okay.
But then I had a girlfriend, we got to the point where, like, say, for instance, she'd say, she drink Miller Lite. So she said, well, okay, if you drink a Miller Lite, then I'll drink a shot of Johnnie Walker. So we'd have the bartender set up a shot of Johnnie Walker Red, and we'd take the Johnnie Walker Red and chase it with beer, And I'm just so grateful to God that I'm still alive. because drinking and driving don't mix.
Thank you.
And
Yes,
God kept
that's
me.
right.
I tell everybody at
Yes.
church, I said, when you see me shouting, I got
Yeah.
something to shout for.
Woo.
They
Yes.
don't
The
understand.
oil.
When you see
I'm a
the tears
basketball
rolling,
player.
I got
Yes.
something.
Thank you,
you know.
Jesus. That's right.
But,
That's right. Tell it.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And you know what? Some of my family might get embarrassed by what I'm saying, but that's okay. Because we have so long suppressed the things that we've gone through, and what we've gone through can help somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe the people that I'm talking to now, and they've read my book, and they're like, oh my gosh, you know, this happened to me, that happened.
Yes.
You know, I never told anybody, I kept this here.
Yes.
And I'm like, whoa, I can't believe how many of my friends have gone through similar things. Every day I get up, somebody done read my book, and they'll say, I see myself.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
went through that.
Wow.
Yeah.
A mirror.
And some of it was worse than what I went through,
Ooh, that's what I'm telling you.
you know.
And that's what I'm saying. When you go to the domestic violence class, because they'll have you come and meet with other people confidentially.
Yes.
When you begin to hear those stories, you will thank God.
Yes.
You will thank God,
Yes.
ladies, because you will see how much He loves you. Because you
Yes.
don't feel loved in that situation. You're like,
Oh,
God,
yes.
where are you? How could you be here? And you see this and you see that. But when you begin to see God in action,
Yes.
and you hear those other testimonies of people what they're going through, it just really it's you either gonna stay in that or you gonna jump up and say, look, thank you, Jesus, I can do this with you, and you begin to learn tools.
Yes.
Now let me ask you, now when you say you got your drink on, we laughing and having a good time. There's so many different avenues, like you said. That's one thing I have a very good friend that I constantly pray. I had to quit drinking with her because, you know, it was not conducive, and she was drinking and driving. And God forbid something would have ever happened.
Right.
But you know, you just want to ease that pain, and you want to
Yes.
have somebody there with
Yes.
you. And when you're drinking, people, just have some more time. And you know,
Yes.
yeah, you're right, girl. Look, we need to. But you are really killing your liver.
Yes.
You're not killing your pain. You're killing yourself.
That's right.
Yes.
Can you tell us how you came to the realization that the drinking was not conducive for you, and it was not doing you the good that you needed?
Yes. At the time, I was the first black female supervisor for Harley Davidson.
You hear that, y'all? Right there.
Yes. Yes.
Now
my
that's a good
husband-
story too.
I got two of them at home.
There you go. Well, shoot, now I want to hear this story about
Yeah.
Harley Davidson.
Yes,
Tell us
tell
Harley
us.
Davidson supervisor.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Well, the way that happened with the Harley Davidson, I was a manager of a retail and jury lease department in downtown Milwaukee. And I got a lot of threats on my life because of catching people with false credit cards and stealing and all of that. So I decided to go back to school for data entry. And when I went back to school for data entry, I applied for a job with Harley Davidson, got hired April 15, 1970 on income tax day. And so I worked there for almost 3 years as a data entry operator, and I got pregnant. And the supervisor was pregnant at the same time. And they had consolidated all of the data entry operator, and she was going to be going out on maternity leave. And she said to me, yeah, I'd like for you to fill in while I'm gone. And I'm thinking, yeah, right. I'm the only black piece of pepper in this family. You know, yeah, okay, you know, you're the gone cuckoo. And so she goes into our boss and talks to him, and he tells her, yeah, that'll work. So she comes back and she said, Ron wants to see you. So I go into his office and he said, okay, you're going to be going out and she's going to be coming back. So, you know, you think you can handle it? And I says, I think I can. Because there was 11 women's on day and five women's on the night shift. And a supervisor, so it was 17 employees.
Wow.
And so I did that until I went out. She was not back when I went out. And so after, because they let you go out 6 weeks before you had a baby.
Yes.
And about 2 weeks before I had the baby, I get a call. Would you like to come back as an acting supervisor? And, because she's not coming back at all.
No.
So I did, I went back, and then they promoted me to supervisor, and I was supervisor from 1973 until I left in 1980 I did, they had a volunteer layoff, and I took the volunteer layoff because I wanted to leave Milwaukee. And so that's how I became supervisor.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that's a God thing.
That, right, and that's
That's a
what I was
God thing.
getting to you, Deedee. Now you said you have Harley Davidsons at home.
Oh yeah, my husband got 2 of them.
Wow, he
Yes.
must be an avid rider.
Oh yeah, he is.
I
He
used to
is.
I ride with
with
my boyfriend in college, Mark, and one time we had a funny experience. we over by the traffic circle in Long Beach.
Mhm.
Well, I didn't know. I had no sense, young and dumb. He says, "Okay, let's go on my bike," and I said, "Okay." We get on the bike, but now he put Armor All on the seats.
Oh, you slid.
Dude, don't you know?
Because I know, because I've been driving with my husband for 40 years. So we've been together that long.
Right, baby.
Yes.
I would say I'm holding down, Tam. Better know. Yeah, and see, I didn't know, but look, he's a bad boy, and so we hit Examino coming back from down by the traffic circle. We hit Atherton because I live right there in Atherton West. He sees the police sitting on his bike.
Oh, wow.
So where he was gonna run through the light and showing out, he had to stop now. Well, you know, we went straight forward, and it was like, "Excuse me, you all right? Pick yourself up." And the
Yes.
cop was like, "I'm wrong."
Yeah. Well, I fell off one time when I first rode with him.
Oh,
And
wow.
because I let go and screamed because a dog was coming towards my leg.
Oh,
But it wasn't going that fast. He just took off and I just went, ah! And he said, "You gonna have to hold on." And but it took me about a year to get back on, but now I be riding and I got the back seat.
Right. Oh, you got like the little seat.
The other one's full dressing and the other one just got a seat to it. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's too cute. That's what Anthony and him used to be riding. He had his glasses on with his wrap.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
telling me about all, you know.
Yeah, we playing our music and we be bumping and bumping and
Right.
even past people they be bumping and bumping on the side.
Wow, what an interesting. You ladies are just wild.
Yes.
So now let me ask you. Now, when you left Milwaukee and you left the Harley Davidson situation, what was your next venture?
Well, my next venture was I was going to move to California. I went to Mississippi. And was gonna stay there for a little while.
Mississippi, what part of Mississippi?
Foxworth, Columbia, same hometown, Marion County, same hometown as Walter Payton is from.
Oh,
Yeah.
Walter Payton. I know you guys know Walter Payton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I didn't know him because he was, when I left, he was probably about 8 or 9 years old.
He was younger.
So I didn't know him. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but my brothers, they grew up with him.
Wow. So now, when you say Mississippi, I think we spoke once before,
Yeah. Mhm.
and we spoke about Meridian.
Yes, well, that's about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes from Meridian. About an hour and 45 minutes from Jackson,
Yes.
2 hours from New Orleans, so it's central Mississippi.
Right.
About an hour and a half from the Gulf Coast. Yeah.
Wow.
But what ended up happening is I ended up coming to visit my mother and staying with her for a while, and I ended up with a job, and next thing I ended up in a relationship.
Uh-oh. Oh, that's
I'll tell you my book now.
No.
That is a number one seller.
I ended up in a relationship, and so I stayed there for a while longer. That relationship dissolved after 5 years, and I ended up in another relationship. And this is the wildest thing that I ever done in my life, was I only dated this man for 6 weeks, and then I married him.
Wow. So what? I mean, you talk about like they have a show now. I think you invented that show and didn't know. But they have a show now where people will meet and then marry.
Yeah.
So how did you?
Well, it's gonna be a show for Johnnie in a minute.
Yeah. How did you do this? Because it's very interesting.
I really didn't know this guy. I had met him months before that, and I really didn't like him.
You
know,
didn't?
because no, he was charismatic and he was arrogant, I thought. And so he said to me who he was, and I'm like, he was saying,
So-and-so.
told me who his sister was, and I'm thinking, well, what that's supposed to mean, you know?
Right.
I just want you to
didn't
get
pick up
this.
on it, huh?
I just want you to buy, because I was working in a kitchen,
Okay.
and that's another whole story, and that's in the book
And we
too.
gonna get to that.
Yeah.
We trying to get everything. We know you gotta go, but just sit down. 1:10, 1:30.
And so he was a minister, and he was getting ready to preach his first sermon, and I still had my mind set on California, and so we ended up getting married within 6 weeks. And the marriage lasted 16 years.
Wow.
I couldn't believe I did that, but I did.
Wow.
Uh,
So when you say you can't believe you did it, married, or you can't believe
that I
you
did it that
16 years?
fast, 6 weeks.
But you stayed together 16 years.
Yeah, we
so
did.
It
Yeah,
was some
yeah,
glue
yeah.
to bring you together.
Yeah, that's
Was
true.
that relationship a triumph for you, where you began to, recognize, hey, I need to celebrate myself?
Oh,
Was
well,
that a sense of
actually,
recognition?
after 6 weeks, I felt I should have gotten a divorce, but
We ain't
but
gonna talk about
I didn't want to go. I didn't
Oh,
want to go to another divorce.
So how do you last 16 years? You don't like the guy.
Well, no, I didn't like him at first.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you grew to like him?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I
But
can
at
believe
first,
that. I
yeah,
can
yeah.
see
At
how
first, I didn't. But what happened was, after I got a chance to talk to him, and realized he was a very kind person. He was nothing like I had perceived him.
Okay,
So,
so
you
your
know-
perception was
Was
faulty, not his
Well,
good personality.
he had a reputation to be a playboy.
Oh,
you know, so-
those be the best kind sometimes. Don't.
So, I thought, don't mess with me. But he was a very kind person.
And you balance. 16 years is
Yeah.
a long
Yeah,
time.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a
Yes.
relationship. Yeah. So now in the relationship with this, was he a player? Was he
No,
like,
not. Yeah,
totally
he had got himself together because
Okay,
he was,
good.
he had become a minister, and then later on he ended up, we did 10 years of prison ministry together, and
Wow.
he ended up a
Wow, that's
pastor.
good, huh?
Oh,
He
yeah,
ended up a
yeah.
pastor. But there were some other things that went on that I just couldn't get past in the
Okay.
relationship, so that relationship was dissolved.
Okay.
But
But now, when you say dissolve, are you now thinking, hey, I gotta start celebrating myself?
oh yes.
When you had that thought of saying, you know what, okay, now I did this for 16 years. Were you like, what's next? Because you know what, you think like, and maybe y'all feel this way too. You think like when you get to 20, you figured it out. Then you know everything.
Mhm.
By 30, it's for sure.
Yes.
But now when you get to 40, you like, now I know when I get to 40, I'm going to really know.
Mhm.
And when you get to 50, you say, it's on, I probably that long. And when you get to 60, you're like, well, God, I'm confused. I thought all that you said, you showed me the back end, but you didn't show me the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm getting at, y'all, is like, what I'm learning here is that you really never know.
You don't.
You have to trust God.
Mhm.
Yes.
So now we've gone from getting our drink on. How did you recover? Really? Because, I noticed that it's very easy to become an alcoholic.
Oh,
Yes. Yes.
Loneliness habits, we pick up habits and start just hitting it every day, taking it with you, depending on it. How do you break the cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did she do
Yes,
to
what did you do?
to break that? Yes.
One of the things I started missing work. I was one of those. I didn't miss work. So my drinking had started to affect my going to work. On Monday mornings, I would have a hangover. I wouldn't go to work, and so my boss asked me to come in and talk with him, and he said, "What's going on? Because you are not the same." And so I started explaining to him about the divorce. I'm going through the divorce, and honestly, I'm going out partying on Saturday nights, Sunday nights too. And he was telling me that, did you know that the company will pay for you to see a psychiatrist?
Wow.
To help, because that's what was driving me to drink. Because before I wasn't a drinker, and so I went to see the psychiatrist. And God has always met me where I needed Him to meet me.
Isn't that beautiful?
If I had to say
Yes.
anyone in the Bible, it would be Joseph.
Okay.
Whatever I did, he was right there with me. Even when I was doing the drinking and stuff, because one day I was ministering to women in the prison system, and it was like, God is like, no, while you had got on your knees with a tidy bowl, sick in the middle of the night, bed turning, because you needed to know how these women felt in this prison system. Because as I was ministering to them, and they're telling me about their drug addiction, some of them had been in abusive situation, and I could feel their pain. I was able to be more effectively in ministering to them. Because of that.
Your experience.
I thank God took you through all this just to talk to these young people.
Yes, and so when God opened that door for me to see a psychiatrist, the psychiatrist I chose, he was going through the same thing I was going through.
Oh,
He was going through a divorce, and he was having some of the same issues that I was having, because he too had to take his kids back and pick them up. And so, in other words, I was seeing a psychiatrist, but we were actually ministering to each other.
And psychiatrists usually have a psychiatrist.
Yes, and so it was just marvelous how he helped me get through this. That is one of the reasons why, besides all the cold weather, that I decided to leave Milwaukee, because I knew he helped me to understand that I needed a fresh start.
Yes. Now, when you
The
say
pain was just too much.
too great,
The pain was too much.
so would you say that pain is transferred,
Yes.
and we transfer the pain? And something that I experienced, and maybe others have also, that when we like I had really, and I only became aware of this maybe, let's say 12, 15 years ago in my life, where I began to, I was emotional eater. My weight would go up, then I would be small. I'd be big, and they say, "Oh, you like both?" And always in comparison. But I never related it to the emotional until I began to speak to a psychiatrist who began to show me the roadmap that led me to the eating.
Yes.
The road, right. And like now, what I find myself doing is like if I have a rough day, I'll come in the kitchen and I say, no, but I choose not to eat. I'm going to go deal with this. And I've learned that Johnnie and Deedee, that when I walk it out and I begin to talk to God about my true self, not about what could be, but about right now, how I'm feeling right now, then I can overcome it. But when, I would sit and, deny it and just sweep it over here. I'm going to give me a gallon of ice cream. Sweep it over here.
I kept mine inside. Nobody knew what was going on with me, so I just always came out with a smile or whatever, but I kept it in. And when I kept it in silence, and then I started eating, gaining all that weight.
And she's in the book, y'all.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
So Deedee, how do you find that? When I listened to Johnnie and she sang to us, she had someone that they bounced back ping pong off of. When you have that kind of confidentiality and you have someone that you can just be real with, because that's all that God can bless is your real self.
Yes.
Even if you drinking and even if you doing whatever it is, God can only bless your true self, and that's how we have to come to Him for real.
Yes.
So who we are. He can't bless a silly duplication. You have to come genuinely. When you find that, Deedee, and I know that you're into helping us lose the weight.
Yes.
When you find that the emotional connection and the light comes on, it wasn't like damn, like what have I really been through?
Yes.
And really when you look back, when you get consciousness of it and you look back, it's like dang, you see the wounds. It becomes more transparent about what you really been through, and like, thank God, because a weaker person would have broke.
Yes.
And you only strong because of God. That's why I know my strength comes from. I had no personal strength. I would rather get a drink.
Yes, I had to be strong for everybody, and it does in my family, my sisters and my daughters and my husband. So when you have a lot of responsibility and try to be strong for everybody else, that's when you start gaining all that weight.
Yes.
And then too, a lot of times, like by me being with my husband for so long, 40 years, he never ever said, thank you, he never ever said that I was big or whatever. So to me, you know, I didn't realize how big I was getting.
Right.
You know,
He
until
accepted
he accepted me until it's time for me to retire. Then I started having health problems, and I'm like, look, I'm not gonna retire young,
Right.
and you know, and start a new chapter and be hurting.
That's right.
You know, and so that's when I went on the journey and try to lose weight. And then every time you try to lose weight and go into these diet places, you end up gaining more.
Right.
You know, you lose 10, you gain 50 pounds back.
That's
So
right.
I said, you know what, I'm not going to diet anymore.
So
I'm going to just go eat right.
That's real and eat from the ground. Let me ask you something, Deedee, on that note.
Mhm.
What do you think about the diet products? What do you think about all these products that
I don't, the diet products, I don't really believe anymore in them because I don't try every last one of them.
okay.
That's why when I sell my products, I don't tell people this is not a diet plan.
Yeah.
You know,
Life plan.
it's a life-changing plan.
That's right.
You know, because we all need to detox. And
That's
once you
real.
start detoxing, and then you start taking those herbs and stuff, and your body
Oh.
starts feeling good, man, then you start moving around. Because I used to walk with a cane,
Wow.
and I was over 300 pounds.
You are kidding me.
Yeah.
309.
I was 350.
Well, I've been
Yeah, and
I
I just went on down by detoxing. I'm telling you,
That's
people,
right.
you need
Yes,
to
I believe
detox.
in it. Tell me that
Yes.
show, baby.
And then you
Tell
start
me.
taking your herbs,
Yes,
then
you
it'll
do
start
work.
working with you really good.
That's right.
So
Build
yeah,
your
so
life.
hit me up with the 7 doses of sage and the total life
Now
changes
tell us
with
about the
tea.
sage. A lot of people hear about sage and they say get some sage and sprinkle it around. It'll change your whole atmosphere. Tell us a little bit about the sage right quick.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, actually, you know, we have the sea moss, and it helps you with a lot of energy, and it got all the herbs and stuff in. Just, you know, about 13 different herbs and vitamins, because that's
Okay.
what we need. We need
Yes.
all the vitamins, because once you detox, you need all your vitamins back in your body.
That's right. And nutrients.
Yeah, and yes, your nutrients. And so that's what we have, and I suggested Johnnie when we first met was the detox tea
Yes.
and the NutriBurst
That's
and the
right.
NRG.
That's the happy pill.
The happy
That's the
pill.
happy- oh,
Yes,
see,
you know about the
oh,
NRG.
This is just God. This is God
And,
for real.
and so that's what that sea moss too. That sea moss give you all that
Oh, it's
energy
just
inside
happy
from the
pill.
7 doses of sage.
I've been telling you.
So hey, I'm telling you people.
Yeah, you know, hey, I'm telling y'all, you know, I didn't even have to say this. This is, I'm just telling you, this is
And
God.
she got a total life changing hat on. Look
Yes,
at her over there.
I changed it, baby. I roll with mine. You know, my greatest, I love the CBD products. And if you
Yes.
ladies look on Vimeo,
Oh, yes.
you know, where the movies are and stuff, I have 5. But one of them is about CBD.
Oh,
Because
yes.
CBD is for pain. And I did a whole video dancing because I too, I just love it. I love the whole Total Life Changes / Tami Lyn show. But
Yes.
I love all of the products that
Yes.
I've
Yes.
used. I love the teas. I love the way that I put on my alleviate because I work as a longshoreman, and sometimes you know bones and stuff be a little achy. I put on my alleviator, take my harmony drops, I'm to the good.
I use Infinity oil, and that's been helping me.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you know, a lot of y'all might know it by the emo oil, but it's the same oil. We love it.
Yes.
Love it. But anyways, we're getting back to celebrating me, and this is a part of it. I never would have
Yes,
guessed in a
yes.
million years that celebrating me would lead to TLC and
No,
talking
yeah.
about herbs.
In order to be able to celebrate me and all that I have gone through, I have to get my health right.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Because your health is your wealth.
Yes.
Yes.
And
You look good.
Yeah. It sure does.
Yes.
the important thing is, like I said to my doctor today, because I was anemic, I'm no longer anemic as of last year, and I feel better than I did when I was 60.
Wow.
I remember when I turned 60 because I went to Las Vegas and had taken my children with me. But so in order to celebrate me, I only work on what caused me to get to where I was. I have to work on my health.
Yes.
And like Deedee was saying, now my thing was, we didn't put it in the book. I couldn't mention the name of the candy, but I would come home. I'm a very successful businesswoman.
Okay.
I could do business and function, had employees, do business meetings and all of that, travel, and I'd come home, get behind those four walls, and I'd eat a candy bar, and it was just like the devil sitting up there. He said, "Done blew it now, so you might as well eat another one." So I would literally have another one.
Oh, yeah.
And then he said, "Well,
That's what happened.
you know, you might as well have another one." Same the Oreo cookies, you know. But thank God that I'm not doing that no more.
Thank God.
Yes.
Because I realized that instead of using alcohol to sabotage myself, I was using food to sabotage myself.
Yes.
So I'm not doing that anymore.
Thank you.
So devil, get thee behind me.
Yes.
Get thee behind me.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
Well, listen, y'all. I know that we got to wrap it up.
Yes.
But what I'd like for Johnnie to tell us in the last few moments of us speaking, Johnnie, tell us from everything, what is one area that perhaps I haven't touched on that you'd like to talk about?
Whatever.
We've talked about so many things, but what I'd like to talk very briefly, I'd just like to ask you a question. You had a restaurant that you were a part of.
Yes.
What was that about? Because I have a young person that's into, as a matter of fact, I have a couple young men who could probably get some knowledge from you. They're starting their own restaurant business and catering business, and you know, things get rough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not microwave.
Right. In 2001, after I divorced my second husband,
Okay.
I moved back to Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
And I had left for the weekend to go visit Sylvia Donovan Hine.
Wow.
Or she was just Sylvia Donovan at the time.
Okay.
And she has a 5K breast cancer run every year, first week in October. And I was visiting her. And I'm sitting in a restaurant in Applebee's, and this woman was coming towards me like him. And she said, "Oh my gosh, they're looking for you in California." And I'm thinking, you know, who is she?
And what was you doing?
Yeah, who are you? And she said, "Dave Shell." Well, that meant something to me,
Okay.
Dave Shell,
Mhm.
because I used to, what I did was, I got into a contract that someone else had at the post office, Jefferson in Marina Del Rey.
Oh, yes.
And so when I got divorced, the contract was up, so I lost the contract. And so, and I'm like, wow. So she said, they're gonna tear down the post office there, and they're moving all of us to the one on Central and Florence.
Wow.
And I said, okay, so
That's a big one.
yes, that's the
That used to be
largest.
the large-
That is the largest post office in the United States.
Yes, sir.
I know the postmaster. That's the postmaster now,
I love
and
it.
I verified it before I put it in the book.
Yes.
And so,
Yes,
she
that's where they
said-
had the '84 Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where we met. I worked at with Uncle Tom, Tom Bradley.
Oh, okay.
And he hooked me up. I had a job at the Olympics. That's LA, baby.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. And so when I was part owner of Augustine and Lamert Park,
Oh,
we used to
wow.
hold recycling black dollars every
Yes.
Monday, first Monday in the month.
Small.
And so I met this man that was a banker.
Okay.
And so I called him up and I said, you know what, I'm looking for somebody that can do a bid for me. I want to bid on this post office. And he said, me and my wife can do it. I said, well, I'm going to start making preparation to move back to LA. I moved back to LA the following October. So within a year and a half, he had landed me that contract.
Wow.
They had 3,500 employees there. And when that was in 2006 that I went in business. 2008, the recession hit, and it wiped me out.
Wow.
So the guy who I hired, he was one of the chefs on the train that goes from LA to Chicago.
All right, the chief, baby.
Yes, the chief.
Oh, I know it.
The chief. And so
Oh,
I
y'all.
had somebody find him,
Mm-hmm.
and he came to meet with me, and I told him, I'll give you what you're making, but I cannot pay for insurance. And it was the best thing that ever happened to him, because he became my manager, because I still had a job, and I was owning the post office cafeteria. And so when I left,
That's winning
so when I left in 2008, he took over my bid, and he was there for 8 years. He was there until 2016. But what happened? The employee just kept running down. So that was one of the greatest things I think that God had ever blessed me with. One of the things I'd like to say to people that are listening to me, if you don't have a relationship with God, get one. If you don't know where to start out reading in the Bible, start out with Psalm 27, 34, 37. Just get that relationship with God. So whatever it is you're going through, if you meditate on His Word day and night, even being in this pandemic, people are finding out they're behind closed doors with their wife, their husband, and they don't even like each other anymore.
No.
But then there are some that God is, the relationship might not have been so good, but now He's healing those relationships. So whatever it is that you need, God says, I have no respect of a person.
Yes.
What I do for one, I'll do for another.
Yes.
And so when you read the pages of this book, and you see how God brought me through all of those times, He'll do the same thing for you. I know there's a lot of people out there that listen to me. You don't have jobs. You don't know which way you're going to turn. I've been there, done that. When I say that I lost my restaurant in 2008, even though I had a job, I was in so much debt that I was using the money that I made from my job to help pay the bills that I had incurred with this business. Because I had 32 employees that worked for me because I was open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I knew those people had kids to feed. So I stayed in business longer than I should have to help out those employees.
Speak on it.
But God,
sacrificing.
yes, but God, today I can tell you that everything I lost, He gave it back to me and more.
Yes.
So if you get that relationship with God, even though you're going through now, you're going to be all right. I can sit here and tell you you're going to be all right because I'm all right. He restored. And that's the kind of God He is. One of the scriptures says, we being carnal-minded, if we know how to give good gifts to our children, how much more does the Father know how to give us?
That's right.
So hold on.
Yes.
A change is going to come
That changes.
in your favor.
Yes.
If I have a bookmark here. On the back side of this bookmark, it has the scripture in Matthew about the mustard seed faith. If I put my glasses on.
Oh, well, that's
But
okay.
this is okay. It's the NIV version, but the King James faith of a grain. But this one says, the NIV, it says, He replied, because you have a little faith, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a grain of mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move.
My God, that's powerful.
Nothing will be impossible for you. I stand on this scripture because I know it's true.
Yes. Woo.
Faith comes, and it comes by hearing the word of God.
That's right.
And how can they hear without a preacher? And how can he preach unless he be sent? So one of the things that has really changed my life is I have a relationship with the Lord.
All right, y'all need to get this
So
book.
if you, there's 7 other people in this book that's telling their story besides me. Anything that has ever pretty much happened to anybody is in this book. Dr. Med Haywood was with us with the book signing on Thursday, and she was talking about how she got into being a psychiatrist because she was raped. So not only do we have people who've been raped, we have loss of loved one, you name it, and it's in here. If you want hope, if you want to find some sense of hope, read this book.
Yes.
Celebrating.
God bless Celebrating Me, and you can
Celebrating.
get it at celebratingme.net. God bless each and every one of you. And thank you so much
Oh.
for inviting me. And I'd also like to
Yes.
thank Sylvia Donovan Hine, my sister, for believing in me. I'd like to thank Chocolate Diamond Publishing Company. That's her publishing company for doing the book. I'm just so grateful to the Divine Seven.
Thank you.
If I start Emily Blue, Dr. Brett Worskill, Dr. Med Hayward, Deedee Kemp, LaSheila Noel, the infamous Miss Kia D, Liddell White, and also on the back, the Guru of Fitness, Donna Richardson Joyner endorsed the back of this book.
Wow.
And I am so grateful to her.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I just can't say nothing else after that, y'all.
No,
But thank
no.
God the word was brought to us and,
Yes.
made flesh, because
Yes.
it takes you. It takes you. And when I say it takes you, I mean it. It takes every one of us to teach one of us. And I thank
That's
these
right.
ladies. I thank Deedee. I thank Johnnie, Greene,
And I think
celebratingme.net. This is your girl Tami Lyn. I would like to thank you so much. We're gonna ask you so much to go and get the book.
Yes.
Learn more about how to celebrate yourself.
Celebrate yourself.
And when you do that, Christian, can you put back on the record and we'll let that go out if we can?
And make sure
Yeah,
you tell
if
about
not-
the key to get that key.
I'd like to also remind you, that's right, Deedee, to visit Deedee's. Deedee, tell us once again, please, how they can hook up with you on Facebook.
Yes, if you come to my page on Facebook, Deidre, D-E-I-R-D-R-E, Carpenter Kemp. Inbox me so you can get one of these directory keys, and so you can check out all the black business that's on this keychain. Because this is the state of the art. Mercedes Jenkins, thank you
Thank
for
you so
giving
much.
us these keys. Business in here,
That's
and
right.
you will see me in this book and on the directory with this 7 doses of sage, TLC,
We gotta have you come back.
and my shields.
We-
Woo! Everybody got their shields.
My rocket,
on,
my
get
shield,
protected.
baby. But you know
Hey.
what? I would like to thank you, Deedee, for my shield, my rocket, my shield. I got my
Rocket.
rock.
Yeah. You know what? I missed one person.
Yes.
That's
all
a
right.
Divine Seven.
Yes.
Johnnie is in this book also. I knew when I get to, because I'm so excited
Yes, and
that I would
start
forget
talking.
somebody.
Yes.
She's in this book.
Yes.
Johnnie.
And,
Now, who Johnnie is who?
I'm trying to remember her
Well,
last.
how did she affect you into writing the book?
No, we have 7 other people telling their story.
Yes.
And
her
Johnnie
story.
is a lady who lost 100 pounds 3
Ooh.
times.
3
and-
times.
3 times.
That's 3
I
times.
mean, that story is explosive. It's
Yes.
explosive because she has now lost 140 pounds again, and she looks awesome. And matter of fact, on this Sunday, look on Facebook. I'm gonna have all the information out there because Johnnie is gonna be conducting. We're gonna have a podcast this Sunday, and she's gonna be telling people about how she lost the weight.
There you go.
Yes.
You got something to
So
do this
tune
Sunday.
in.
So
Tune in
tune
this
in.
Sunday.
What time is it? Or can we? Let me just
You
tell
know
you
what?
something.
I'm gonna put it on Facebook. I will
And
share.
under Facebook now, let's just get it straight. Under Facebook, it's May,
MAE
M-A-E, Greene.
with the E on it. GREENE.
Okay,
Yes.
you understand that?
Yes.
But now the book, when you buy the book, it's listed
Johnnie Greene.
Greene. Okay, so understand, Johnnie is the same person as May. She
Right.
uses for Facebook, May. So look for her posts. I post up today Deidre's correct name, and you can go and inbox her. Guys, I've asked for far more time than it's worth, but it was worth it. Get your groove on. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate me.
And you can buy my T-shirt.
We got some.
Yes,
gear.
yes.
We got some merch.
So we're hoping to
Well,
start a movement with this
Okay.
because everybody can celebrate themselves. So
That's
celebrating me.
That's right. And so where can we get the T-shirt?
The website,
Celebratingme.net.
celebratingme.net.
Hey!